Joining us now from Washington is a senator who does not like the bill. I said he might not vote for the bill, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. My positioning this in a fallacious word of the day way, Senator.
I think you have a pretty accurate assessment. I don't really disagree with it. And by the way, the bill as it goes, as far as it goes, I don't have too many problems with. The problem is it just simply doesn't go far enough. And if we do this as a one and done bill and we don't do anything further, and that's pretty much the indication we have, we're simply not addressing the massive long-term debt and deficit that, from my standpoint, is the biggest issue here. So let me just throw a couple numbers at you. Just put these things in perspective. In 2019, we spent $4.4 trillion. This year we'll spend over $7 trillion. That's a 58% increase. Next year, about 7.3. But here's the one that I've really been focusing on now: average deficits over the last presidential terms. Obama came in, shot deficits up almost $1.3 trillion average in his first 4 years. But then the Tea Party, I'm part of that, came in. We put some restraint. That got knocked down to about $550 billion a year for his 4 years. Trump came in, had to do deal with Democrats. That went up to about $810 billion per year. Then you had COVID, a $3.1 trillion deficit, just a massive bipartisan spending spree. And responsible leadership would have realized, okay, that's an aberration. We got to return to pre-pandemic levels. We should have gotten down really below $5 trillion in spending and certainly below $1 trillion in deficits. It's not what happened. We kept spending at pandemic levels. Biden averaged deficits of $1.9 trillion. And if you look at the scoring of the big, beautiful bill right now, those deficits just continue to increase from about 2.2 trillion in the next 4 years up to about, I think, 2.9 trillion. That's off the top of my head. Again, we're not bending the deficit curve down. Now I'm going to be issuing a report. I've been working on it over the weekend. We're doing different scenarios based on different growth scenarios. You literally have to get to about 4% growth before you start bending that deficit curve down, that trajectory down toward balance. 3%, that kind of flattens it out to averages about $2.1 trillion in deficits over the next 10 years. Again, I'm just not willing to accept that as new normal.
Okay. Now, what you just said, nobody understands.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right.
But
it's impossible. It's impossible. No,
I know. That's
no average voter. So I'm a simple man, and I'm putting myself in your seat. I'm the senator. And here's my calculation. You're right. The federal government spending is wildly out of control. And the waste is phenomenal. And our system needs to be more disciplined. You're right. But we're in a crossroads in history here, where the Democratic Party doesn't want any spending cuts, maybe a little in defense, but they don't want any. Okay? You know it. Everybody knows it. They want to increase it. In fact, more. They don't even want supervision of Medicaid, which we'll do tomorrow. They don't want any reform. They hated Musk. They hate Doge. They don't want anything. That's where you start. The Republican Party is the party of responsibility now fiscally. But if the Republican Party gets its butt kicked in 26, it's over. And the gates open, and you'll have way more spending than you have now. Is that true?
You're right. Listen, it's easy to be
Okay, wait, stop.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm right. Okay. So what Trump has done, and I know this because I have access to the president, he says, I know this bill jacks spending, but my tariffs are going to bring down the deficit and debt. And as you know, the recent report, in 1 month, the tariffs have cut the deficit in half. So Trump says, I'm going to get my trade deals. We don't know whether he will or not. Okay? And then all the money coming into the Treasury is going to bring this stuff down. So keep me in power with no tax rise, and that'll start to come down because of the money coming in. Is the president wrong?
Yes. I hate to say it, I'm a big supporter of the president, but right now the White House is putting out a memo saying that tariff revenue over the next 10 years will be about $2.8 trillion. Again, that compares to a $22 trillion deficit. And by the way, if you extend the taxes, they admit that the baseline goes up to about $25 trillion. So it might reduce the deficit by about 10%. Again, it's still not adequate, and the tariff revenue is very problematic. It's being tested in the court whether President Trump really has this executive power. If the courts decide he doesn't, and I think it, again, I'm not a legal scholar when it comes to this tariff law, but if they strike that down, I doubt that Congress is going to impose sweeping tariffs like that. So again, that revenue is very uncertain. And let me make a final point. I support President Trump because I want him to defeat the deep state. You don't defeat the deep state by continuing to fund it.
Let's face it, the U.S. economy is under stress. National debt rising, trade war shaking the markets. And meanwhile, China is dumping the dollar and stockpiling gold. That's why I protected my savings with physical gold and silver through the only dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. And you can do this. Get precious metals delivered to your door or place in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. They'll even help you roll over your existing IRA or 401k, tax and penalty free. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of 5-star reviews, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust American Hartford Gold as I do. Please call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.